thought we were the protectors of truth. Democrats, Republicans, you all lie. We, a small band of survivors, are on our way to the Steel City to find the resistance. Join us.
Welcome to the Steel City Resistance with Senior Airman Ward Miller and the ironclad voice of Pittsburgh, Hutch Jr., laying down verbal C4 to blow away the lies and the political tomfoolery. Your papers have been cleared. Welcome to the Steel City Resistance.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Steel City Resistance. Thank you, Mr. Buyer Brown. My name is Hutch Jr., and I'm located deep down in the bunker in the city of Pittsburgh.
I'm Ward Miller, also in the city of Pittsburgh here in Mission Control. And it's one of them weeks. Hutch and I are both got the ick. And so you may hear some coughing and snorting and sneezing and breezing and whatnot during the show tonight, and we're going to apologize ahead of time because we both know we have these really terrible head colds, and yeah, so there's that.
There is, and I don't know what's going on with the Ustream here, but it doesn't seem to be operating. I think there's some problems with Ustream. Hopefully the recording will be no problem, and that'll work out well for the video segment because it's too late. Yeah, we're both down here and kind of sick, so if the voices sound a little off, that's why. But we're dedicated enough that we decided to drive on anyway. So hey, it's episode number 110, Ward. That's not bad. I mean, we just kind of did this on a whim, and we really haven't missed. We might have missed 1 or 2 weeks, but not very many.
No, it's actually 109 more shows than I figured it was going to be.
Yeah.
I actually figured we'd do 1 or 2, and people would go, "Are you really kidding me?"
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, like, the types of shows that we were doing when we decided to launch this project. The politics didn't really fit in those venues. I mean, it was kind of odd, a little bit of awkward sometimes if you're going and alien.
Yeah, especially like you were doing a comedy show, and at the time I was doing a technology show, and you really couldn't, I mean, of course, with a comedy show it's easier to talk about politics because they're all clowns, but with a technology show it just wasn't there.
Yeah, but anyway, so we stuck with it. I'm glad we did. I've learned a lot, and I have. One of the things I've learned is I don't know what in the hell's going on in Washington, but we reported extensively during the Benghazi incident about the AFRICOM commander being General Carter Ham being relieved of his command, and there was eyewitnesses on the scene, and he was whisked away, and this, that, and the other thing, and I don't know what the story is in between then and now, but General Ham is still the AFRICOM commander.
Well, yeah, and it's important that we write, what was said. However, in our defense, I'm going to say, we did some check. I mean,
yeah, we took multiple sources. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't like, well, we heard from this one guy who said, I mean, it was all over the place.
It was.
And in fact, it was so pervasive that we felt as though we had a report on it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just something the way that happens. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because it's not as I really don't know how it is. I mean, I don't know what to say at this point other than he is still the commander until spring sometime. So there it is. Go search it out yourself. I have, and there's like conflicting reports, and Pentagon saying this and this guy saying that, and I don't know. But anyway, good man's still in the position, so that's good. Now,
outstanding.
Yeah. Now the state of our media today, I've often said, man, why doesn't a rich conservative or a conglomerate of rich conservatives, why do we put up with these networks that are so skewed to the left? And we have Fox News that's so easy to target, and they do it daily. I mean, there's got to be some more people out there with some ambition that could create another network, and I mean that's never going to happen. I've been waiting for that for 20 years, and it just doesn't seem to. I mean, thank goodness Fox is there, and now we have the new media, which is good. But the market is taking care of this raggedy ass left wing media.
Well, I mean, and that's how capitalism works,
Absolutely.
right? You know, that's why.
God damn, it took a long time, though, man. Holy smoke, it took a long time.
Of course it does. But I mean, it takes time, you know, and I think a lot of it, what happens is even the lefties start watching, you know, CNN, MSNBC, and they start going, you know what? These people are think I believe this. And it's not saying that they're jumping ship and they're going from I'm a avid, you know, rabid CNN follower, watcher, whatever, and I'm going to jump right to Fox News. What it probably is they have become so disenchanted with the way that the media talks to them that they just said, you know what, I don't need this.
Well, when you listen to it,
and are opting for Big Bang Theory versus Soledad O'Brien or Piers Morgan or any of the other jackasses that they have on CNN or MSNBC.
Well, these arguments that the left puts out and the very reliable lapdogs in the media parrot, they have to rely on you being stupid. And I think it's especially with social media. Now with Twitter and Facebook and things, you can't get away from either side. So you're going to see it.
Oh, absolutely. But,
I'll help.
The beauty of social media is you can tune it, right? You can actually dial in and say how much, you know, political stuff I want and how much, you know, entertainment type stuff I want and how much just benign insanity I want, and you control that. So, you know, so if you have somebody, you know, like Hutch and I, who you know are fairly conservative, and you want a fairly conservative viewpoint, you'd follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever. And then versus CNN, who just takes the entire pipe and crams the entire pipe with crap.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one of the things that I just saw that I feel is so ridiculous is that what's that guy's name, the senator from Jersey, Menendez. Menendez. All right, he gets busted.
Yeah.
Going to South America. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point. He's going to South America.
He went to the Dominican Republic.
Okay, Dominican Republic on the taxpayer's dime to bang little girls. And when I say little girls, I mean under the age of 18.
It was actually, he probably had taxpayer money, but it was on his biggest donor's dime. It was like he's a fraudulent medical something.
Okay.
Everybody's getting busted, put it that way.
Yeah. In any case, it doesn't matter who paid for it. I mean, the thing is, he's still your senator, and he's still committed a felony. Here's the part that that really pisses me off. CNN reported on this felony.
Yeah, like 6 weeks later or something.
6 weeks later, and only spoke about it 6 times.
It's unbelievable.
In a month.
It's
6 times.
How many times have you gone up to somebody with a story that we are well versed in, and they don't know what the hell you're talking about?
Oh,
it happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, back to my story. So in a 1 month period, 6 weeks, CNN talked about Menendez 6 times in 6 weeks. Now this guy was going to the Dominican Republic and banging little girls.
Yeah, it was sickening. I mean, the madams were saying like he always wants the newest and the freshest ones.
Yeah. Now, conversely, you know, because we show both sides of the story here, Marco Rubio took a drink of water, and CNN reported on that 122 times in a 24-hour period. A guy gets a drink of water.
Yeah, it was
122, gets it brought up 122 times in a 24-hour period, but yet this senator, who's committing one of the most heinous acts you can imagine, gets mentioned 6 times in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
What's wrong with this picture?
I think MSNBC had it 155 times. I mean, it was really good.
Rubio, yeah. I mean, both of them are. I mean, you know, And then you have Wolf Blitzer going, do you think this is going to do in Rubio's career?
Yeah.
Really? For getting a drink of water? You know, when talking makes you thirsty, you know, and big bright lights make you thirsty.
Yeah.
You know,
but the market's good because Soledad O'Brien got fired. That's good. Things like that, it just it makes you happy when you see that at least the market's doing something.
Well, and did you see who they're going to replace her with?
No idea.
That ugly ass Kyle Joy Bear. The redhead from The View.
Oh yeah, she's real newsworthy. Yeah. I thought she was going to Current.
No, well apparently she was going to go to Current, and then it got sold to Al Jazeera. So you know, I guess she
got to work for her.
She didn't want to relocate to Yemen, so she decided to go to CNN. It's the next, you know, the closest thing to a terrorist network that she can work on.
She'd look good in a burqa.
She'd look outstanding in a burqa. She's burqa ready if I've ever seen one.
Now Rush Limbaugh came out this week and he started talking about the sequestration and the big hoopla over it, and he actually said that he was ashamed to be an American, or ashamed of his country rather. And I started listening to what he was saying, and I can't remember the percentage, but this sequestration for this year it's going to hurt the Department of Defense because of the way that it's set up. But as far as the country as a whole, all it is a cut in the growth of the spending, and it's like we're still going to spend more next year than we are this year. And he said, when you think about it, Ward, for 20 years they've been doing this. They've been doing the same thing. They come up and they kill Grandpa, and they come out, and America falls for it time and time again. And there's some people out there saying that maybe nobody's going to fall for it this time.
Well, in fact, there was a thing that I posted on our Facebook page. It says, sequestration is a fancy word for holding America's military hostage in order to pressure Republicans into yet another tax hike.
Yeah, and I mean it's going
because
like
that's what they're doing, right? Because they're painting. I mean, it's the same thing that we've said a million times. They're painting the picture of well, no, it's not this time. They're not pushing Grandma off the mountain, you know, in a wheelchair. Now they're holding a gun to the military's head, saying, "Hey, you know what? The military's not going to be able to protect you if we don't raise taxes and pay these guys."
And you know the on the other side, because there's two sides of it. There's the defense side, and then there's the other side, the discretionary fund side. The president, with a straight face, and he's the fourth or fifth president to do this, gets up there and goes down this long litany of things that are going to happen if his plan, and they're also pushing that it's the Republicans' plan, and there's evidence that it's not. But he goes right down, and there's going to be no air traffic controllers, there's going to be no police, no first responders, no teachers, no food, no peanut butter, no jelly, no nothing. You know, and it's just, and that's the part that he's ashamed of, and I am too. And it's like, this country, it does nothing common sense related when it comes to the government. I mean, they're just addicted. They're junkies to the spending.
Well, and the thing is, what I love is they said there's not going to be any first responders, there's not going to be any police, there's not going to be any firemen, there's not going to be. Here's the point. The federal government doesn't pay the police department.
Right, you're talking about the D.C. cops maybe, or the federal agents, but not the...
Yeah, I mean, it may impact the FBI, it may impact the CIA.
And when you're talking about them,
it's not going to impact your local police force because their money either comes from the city or the state or the county, right? It doesn't come from the federal government. The federal government doesn't pay one of our police officers.
Well, see, the ridiculousness of the whole entire thing is every single branch of government needs a cut. But they don't need to cut like this. They need to say, somebody in Washington, they need to get together, some adults, and say, we got to lose this much money. And they got to...
Well, they have to find a bunch of adults in D.C.
They got to divide it up in between the agencies and said, each agency, if they said to the DOD right now, you got to cut so-and-so %, do you think they'd be doing it the way they're going to by furloughing everybody? No.
No.
No. They would, like, put one less shithouse on every freaking aircraft carrier or something.
Yeah, I mean, you make you make intelligent
That's right.
choices. You make intelligent cuts. Now, do I think that cuts are necessary? Yes,
Hell
I do.
yes, and in defense.
And in defense,
Yes.
and everywhere.
We need to lean Six Sigma, get a little smarter, start with some better business practices, and see what happens. But the whole farce, and the sad thing, Ward, is when you see the guy on the street that's so damn dumb that he just believes everything that these reporters tell him and these politicians tell him. And it just becomes like, I saw a very unsettling poll, and I don't really have a whole lot of faith in polls, but it said that whenever asked if the government needed to be cut, everybody said yeah. But when you started asking people about individual programs and agencies, the only one they said to cut was foreign aid. All the rest of them, they thought that you should keep the same. They're that foolish.
Well, that's extremely foolish, but I agree with that to a point. Now, here's the thing that I don't agree with. We're borrowing money from China to turn around and hand it to countries such as Egypt that don't fucking like us.
No.
That we're handing it to Saudi Arabia. That so we're not giving Saudi that much money, but Pakistan. We're giving Pakistan aircraft carriers full of money.
Yeah. Well, Saudi Arabia too, but it's just in oil revenues.
But yeah, I mean, we're actually getting something from them. Pakistan, the only thing that Pakistan exports is terrorists, but yet we keep giving them money because they say, yeah, we're helping you guys out. We're behind you. War on terror. Woohoo! Yeah, we're there.
They got a nice convertible coming out next month. The Pakistani convertible, yeah, it's going to be nice. I just had to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, hell, they housed Bin Laden for how many years?
Oh yeah, they killed their own prime minister.
Yeah, we're looking for him. Yeah, we can't find him. I don't know what you're talking about.
They killed that woman, the prime minister or president, whatever she was, Bhuti or Bhuta or whatever. I think she was Huma Abedin's cousin or something.
Yeah, I'm sure she was.
Hey, so anyway, we'll be paying attention to the sequestration. By the time the next show rolls around, probably won't have any electric because there probably won't be any federal subsidies to, keep the telephone poles up or whatever. So we might have to run on battery power if there's any batteries left. But anyway, we'll see what happens next week.
Just real quick, did you see that thing I posted on our Facebook page?
Probably.
It was called "Shit Pelosi Says."
Yeah, I saw that elsewhere.
And the one that I have to give a shout out to is, and this is quoting Nancy, I don't think that we should cut congressional pay. I think we should respect the work we do. I think that it's necessary for us to have the dignity of a job that we have rewarded.
She's like a multi-millionaire. Her freaking husband owns a football team.
And she says, no,
a football league, not a team. I mean, it's a failed league.
Yeah, the Arena League.
One of those things that didn't work too well. But a friend of mine developed a chip. If you have a big HD TV that's like, what is it, 1020 or 1080 DPI, the real big ones.
Yeah,
well,
it's 1080p.
When it's in HD mode, and it's real bright, it's a chip that, because we watch a lot of news over here, and you get interviews, and if you want to get some brain damage, watch one of those big HD TVs, and the full face picture of Nancy Pelosi comes up in HD. She has so many terrain features on her face that my buddy had to develop this chip that if she comes on, it goes back to regular definition. I don't know what's up today. Maybe it's me being sick.
It might be the medication you're on.
But
I don't know.
No, I'm not on any medication, a cough drop. But what was I going to say? I said that at a party one time, and there was like a real big Democrat guy that was there. He was like, he was stunned. I thought it was funny as hell. It looks like we're having some problems, and I don't know the origin, because that's the other thing about the news anymore. You don't get the whole story. They'll tell you 25 youths beat up another youth, and they won't say that the 25 youths were all 17-year-old black kids, and the other guy was 65, and a Mexican guy or whatever. They'll never bring the whole thing out. But it seems like a round of tuberculosis has broken out in Los Angeles. And with the demographics of Los Angeles, that makes you wonder if that's immigrants. Because this is one of the most serious things about illegal immigration right here, is we've nailed a lot of diseases in this country and in this hemisphere. But there's some berry and shit out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we inoculate against a lot of this stuff like TB and polio.
Yeah.
And
smallpox.
Yeah. And you name it, because and we've eradicated, smallpox and whatnot because of this. But then you have this, for all intents and purposes, Mexico's, is so poor. It's a third world country.
Oh, sure. You go further south than that. It's not just Mexicans.
Yeah, well, no, but my point is,
you go down there, and some of those
they're not being immunized against
right.
anything.
And some of those countries down there, a
petri dish.
A mosquito lasts for 10 years. He don't die in the wintertime. That sucker gets big.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll have to watch that because that's well,
the thing is, it's not just that it was TB; it was drug-resistant TB.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That it's not. It's not going,
It probably was immigrants then. It's probably the 5th or 6th strain of it.
Yeah, it's. I'm not sure. What because I'm not a virologist
right.
or whatever, so I'm not sure how it spreads or how whatever. But the article that I had read said that it was drug-resistant TB.
Jeez, yeah, it's bad. It's not good at all. We'll have to keep our eye on that and see if they finally. It'll probably take 2 weeks before they say they were from Honduras or something illegally. But it seems like we're.
But it's okay because they've now been documented.
Yeah, they'll be citizens by May. But the disparity between the way the left is and the way the president is and the administration and the things they do, the way they're perceived. And the things they do, we just sent 300 more troops to Niger in Africa to set up a drone station. And he did use the War Powers Act. It wasn't like, usually when there's a War Powers Act, it's like on the news. And they say, hey, Mr. Speaker, they go through all the machinations of doing this parliamentarily.
Yeah.
This was just like a freaking instant message or something.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to send 300 troops to Niger.
You got any problem with that?
All right, they're gone.
Exactly, man. And then the whole thing in this country, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but with the drones, Rand Paul's not letting that go about drones in the United States. And I'm with it. I'm 100% with it. If it's in this country, send a squad down there. You know what I mean? Send somebody and police them up.
Well, that's the thing. It should be policed. The U.S. military shouldn't be enforcing laws with drone strikes.
They shouldn't be enforcing laws, period.
Exactly. But much less with drone strikes. And, I don't understand what Obama's
who knows
thrill is with these drones. We had a story last week where they created an award that was higher than the Bronze Star to give to drone pilots, and I think that's ridiculous because
Did we actually do a story on that?
No, I think I don't think it made the cut.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's explain it to the people because I forgot all about that story. That story pisses me off because it just takes a certain metal that I might have and just like makes it all low. That these guys, they're not even in country. A lot of them are in, like, I'm not going to say where. A lot of them are different places, and they do this remotely, very remotely.
Yeah, thousands of miles
by satellite.
Remotely. Yeah,
and they're kicked off with their tennis shoes on and eating Cheetos, and this award that they can get that nobody. I'm not saying anything. They're great soldiers or airmen or whatever they are, but it's different when you take a medal that you're going to give them. In the military, there's precedence of medals. All the services, there's a certain order that you wear them, And the higher up and the closer to the heart that you wear them, the higher ranking or higher precedence, like the Medal of Honor goes around your neck. That's the highest medal there is. And then it goes back and back and back and down lower and down lower and lower. Well, they're making this Atari medal, whatever it is, PS3 medal, PS4, whatever, and making it higher than a Bronze Star. And that means it's right under a Silver Star.
And the thing is, the Bronze Star is awarded to people in combat. They're actually in the dirt.
You got to be in the combat zone, and there's two different types. There's a Bronze Star medal being involved in the operation and did something good, and there's a Bronze Star with valor, and that's when you're in the dirt and the bullets are flying. So if you get it with valor, that's what that means. Silver Star, I don't think you can get a Silver Star without valor. I think that has to be. I know that's true. Because we even had people, I've even known people that were in firefights and got Bronze Stars and couldn't get a Silver Star. Just because they're very rare. I mean, you gotta do something that involves a lot of people.
And you should. You know, that's one of the
Absolutely.
things. That's one of the things about medals and honors and
that's why everybody's complaining. All these guys are complaining like, hey, you know, you already did that with some of the lower medals where everybody and their mother has one.
But my point is, Hutch, these guys aren't facing combat.
Right. Hey, I agree with you.
They shouldn't.
But there's enough. There's enough of those.
They should be identified and say, okay, you know, I was part of this battalion or this squadron of fighters or whatever. That's all well and good. And if you want to even give them a little badge that says I was a member of the, 363rd Bomber Squadron, great.
Or give them something that you give everybody else. Give them an Army Commendation Medal. You know, there's
or an Air Force Commendation.
Whatever.
You don't give them a medal because all you do is demean the people.
That's right.
That already had that had gotten that awarded during combat.
And you know what you end up with? You end up with generals like General Petraeus, who stands up there and has got every feasible badge, accoutrement, ribbon, medal possible. He looks like Douglas MacArthur, and he had one combat tour. Or he started his combat tour as a 2-star general. That was the first combat he saw, was as a 2-star general, 101st Airborne Division, division commander, guaranteed he had a personal security detail that would take out the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, so the man wasn't in that much of danger, but he ends up with the whole rack. I mean, I'm sure you've seen him in uniform.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you end up getting. And you look at the Marine Corps, not so much.
No.
The Marine Corps, you could do 20.
To be honest with you, the only awards I've ever seen on anybody in the Marine Corps are Purple Hearts.
Well, they have some, but they're nothing like the Army and the Air Force. I mean, we gotta.
Well, the Navy has quite a few though.
I never really saw a whole lot of Navy guys dressed up.
Yeah,
I just haven't been around them.
Navy has quite. I mean, especially if you get up into admirals and rear admirals.
Oh yeah,
they have quite a few. But the local, the low level grunts, they don't have that many.
Especially the Marines, you got to be like an E7.
Yeah, or be shot.
Yeah, or be in combat, right? They have combat-related medals.
They have combat-related medals, and the Purple Heart is the most common Marine medal there is.
That's the medal you don't want.
No.
That's the one that you have to get wounded to get that, ladies and gentlemen. Wounded in combat, which is why those people are screwed down at Fort Hood. By these people calling it a workplace violence, they're not getting their Purple Hearts that they damn well deserve. They were shot. They were shot in combat. Damn it!
Absolutely, and it's not only that. It's because of the way it's classified. They're not getting any. If they can't re-enlist and they're not able to fulfill it, they're getting kicked out.
Yeah, they should make whatever.
Because it wasn't a, like you said, because it wasn't a work, because it wasn't declared a terrorist attack, which it was.
And maybe they said something about it has to be overseas. All right, that's fine. You know what? Commander-in-Chief, executive order time.
Yeah, he's really good at those.
But anyway, Had to bring that back in my memory. Chuck Hagel and Brennan aren't doing so good, man. I thought they'd be confirmed by now. That was what this Brennan is getting held up for over that drone question. Brennan's horrible anyway. I mean, we talked about him last week.
Like I said before, I honestly believe that Obama threw in Hagel and Brennan knowing that they were going to get refused. Knowing that there's no way that the Republicans are going to give them a pass, and then he's turning around and go, look, the Republicans won't do anything. You know, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I don't know if you watched it. Did you watch any of the confirmation hearings?
Yeah.
Hagel was terrible.
Yeah,
beyond
he was
terrible.
And Brennan, the facts are getting his way. His own video gets it his way. All you got to do is put Ted Cruz up there and let him get on YouTube, and he'll take care of Brennan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Brennan's not good. But the thing is, if Obama had his team in order, we couldn't stop. Oh, that's a 60 vote deal. Is that a 60 vote, or do they just need a majority? I don't know.
It has to be both houses.
No, it's just the Senate. Senate confirmation is all they need.
Well, apparently,
they interviewed.
They can't get Democrats to vote for these guys.
I know there's some that won't. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like. Brennan was a very big drone guy. He's Daddy Drone. He's the one that started the drones. You know, and he's very. He will not answer Rand Paul. Rand Paul asked him if the president thinks that he has the authority to use a drone strike in the United States territories. And Brennan answered him, well, we've never done that, and we don't have any intention of doing that. And Rand Paul said, okay, that's not what I asked you.
Yeah, that's not the question.
You know what I mean? And wrote him a letter and it's like, you're not getting past me until you say something on this. I thought I like his principle, I do.
Rand Paul's been really good during all of the hearings that I've watched, and I've watched a bunch. I watched him with Hillary for the Benghazi thing. I've watched him.
I can't believe she got away with that.
During the confirmation hearings, I've watched him, and Rand Paul's been pretty good. Ted Cruz, like you said, is really good. Lindsey Graham has surprised both of us.
Yeah.
In the Hagel thing, and that's not something that I would have thought of 6 months ago.
No, I couldn't stand the guy. Matter of fact, he's still on the replace list on the website. I still haven't taken him off because I want to wait a couple months and let him screw up again. Because he's the one that says that we should limit freedom of speech, when it comes to certain things. And that's just an unacceptable statement, man, from a senator. It just is.
Well, he's the reason I got out of the military when I did.
Really?
I got out under the Graham-Ruttman-Hollings Strength Reduction Act.
Yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah, because I only had to do 3 years because I had enlisted.
But if you recall, that was part of my earlier statement. If you recall during that was one of the things that led to balanced budgets, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And remember, the world was going to end? Mm-hmm. The same exact argument that they're having right now. They had back then about Reagan. Or about...
But the thing was, Reagan was smart enough to do it the right way.
Oh yeah.
Instead of just saying, okay, we're going to slash, all this money, and we're not going to, paint the boats or whatever.
I remember Graham-Ruttman was a dirty word when I was in service.
And the same with me.
And I wasn't old enough to know what I was talking about, but I remember it striking a nerve.
Yeah, well, what they did basically was they came out, and I had 3 years in, and they said, you have a choice. You can re-enlist or get out. And I'm like, well, is this going to impact my discharge, Because I enlisted for 4 years. I'm going to end up serving 3. Is that going to impact something? And they said, no. They said, we don't really care about that. You're going to get a honorable discharge and the whole 9 yards. So I said, okay, fine, because I had no intention on re-enlisting.
Yeah,
I wasn't re-upping at all, but I was going to do my duty. I signed up for 4. I was going to do 4, and Graham-Ruttman said, no, you're either going to re-enlist for another 4, so I would have done 7, or you're going to get out, and I'm out.
There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's one more addition to our media conglomerate. Now, we've put together a newspaper called the SCR Beacon for your reading pleasure on Fridays that comes out. So I got to figure out a destination, the distribution system for it. But I'll put it up on the Facebook page, and we'll figure it out from there. But that's just a bunch of our good aggregators that are all collected throughout the week, and then they'll be posted on Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, your weekly Jihad report for February 16th through February 22nd. 41 jihad attacks, 5 Allah Akbars, 321 dead bodies, 736 critically injured. The religion of peace, ladies and gentlemen, one body at a time. Now there's bodies dropping in Chicago too, I guess.
Yeah, apparently there was a teen who was shot just hours after Obama gave a gun control speech. And it was an 18-year-old girl who was shot in North Chicago. Her name was Janae McFarland. And reports indicate that the bullet with which she was shot was actually intended for someone else. No way.
Imagine that.
No, wait. No, Hutch, that can't be right. Because guns aren't allowed in Chicago.
That's right.
So how exactly did she get shot with a bullet that was meant for somebody else in a place where guns are illegal?
Again, the argument requires that the people listening to the argument must be stupid. It requires it. This would make me mad if I was a Democrat, that in order for me to go along with what you want me to do, Mr. Democrat leader, I have to give away my intelligence and my common sense. That would piss me off. If some Republican came to me and tried to tell me that gun-free zones are good, I'm sorry, but that doesn't work. So there's a whole lot of...
I mean, simple math tells you that. I mean, we're not talking about, hey, we want you to, become a nuclear physicist. No, this is simple math. This is 1 and 1 equals 2. If you have guns and you have a gun-free zone, said bad guy with a gun, it will carry it into a gun-free zone and make it a killing field.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a Democrat and you like Democrat leaders, just understand that they are allowing you to be killed more than you should be. I mean, if you would... I can't even go there. I mean, it's just... we've posted on it, talked about it 1,000 times. The only good part about it is that I'll bet you if you racked up, and this is going to sound heartless, but I'll bet you if you tallied everything up, there's a whole lot more Democrats getting shot than Republicans. A whole lot more. I mean, just a vast amount more. That's what we should do. We should try to get a statistic like that and say, here, look, this is you, and this is us. Jeez, man.
Oh, by the way, before we go on, did you see the thing where our Justice Department has decided to join a lawsuit against Lance Armstrong?
I did.
That's ridiculous.
Among other things that they've done. I mean, that department right there, if we ever get out of this mess, because who knows what's going to happen in 2016. But
that's what they should do with sequester, is just get rid of the fucking Justice Department. It'd save a ton of money.
I'll tell you.
And I mean, they're useless.
They say, because I remember when Bush abdicated or whatever, when he gave office to Obama, when he resigned, what's it called when you get out? Anyway, when Obama took over, one of the first things that Holder wanted to do was to investigate the Justice Department of the Bush administration. And this big thing went up about, we don't do that, da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know what? If we get back in charge, then this Justice Department needs to be investigated. This is the most illegal, criminal-ass bunch of people from Chicago I've ever seen in a Justice Department. I mean, Janet Reno was bad. She was bad. With the kid from Cuba and the Waco and Ruby Ridge, it was horrible. But this guy, it's every day.
Yeah, the difference is, I mean, even as bad as she was, it was very... I don't know. I don't want to make it to downplay it, because the stuff that you're talking about was all high profile. It was
unnecessary. It was unnecessary.
Yeah,
They
it
could have.
was unnecessary. You're absolutely right. However, the difference is her screw-ups played out on national TV, whereas Holder's aren't coming to light.
Yeah, that's true too.
And it's the fact that the media refuses to report on the fact that, you know, Holder, you know, they refuse to report on Fast and Furious. They refuse to. Well, Benghazi has nothing to do with the Justice Department, but I mean, it's one of them things where, you know, at that time the media was left leaning, but they didn't lean far enough to the left that they refused to report.
Right. Yeah,
now,
they were on it. It was on there all the time.
Yeah, I mean, when she had them going into Waco. I mean, it was every news channel carried it.
Yeah.
You know, but now I think that Waco could happen, and with this new media,
I don't know, man. I know it's changed
you
so
never
much.
hear about it.
I mean, we lived through as adults the Clinton administration, and it was it leaned a little bit left. It leaned a lot left, but it didn't omit stuff. I mean, because that's when Drudge came on the scene. And once Drudge came on the scene, they were like scrambling and making sure that they covered stories. I mean, they weren't covering them as enthusiastically as we would have liked, but there wasn't any Fox News yet, and we heard about the stories.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Monica
Right.
Lewinsky thing was because of Drudge.
But
Matt Drudge is what made Monica Lewinsky a household name,
and vice versa.
Yeah.
Now, we had a little debate last week about Ben Carson and whether he was an aberration or you know, everybody was just wishing. Well, there's a little bit of proof out there that the the left is scared of this guy, Ward. They're freaking scared.
And we said that.
They're circling the wagons, man. They're trying to pull everything out. They're trying to pull Linsky's rules for radicals on this guy. I mean, he did the... Here he comes, daring to defy the unspoken apolitical taboos as keynote speaker at the prayer breakfast, right in the very hallowed presence of the one we have been waiting for, unabashedly exposing the myths. So they're getting out there, and they're going to circle around and they're going to hire detectives and everything else. And this guy's just chuckling, man. He's like, bring it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same thing as what happened with Mitt Romney, right? Because I mean, that's Obama's MO.
Yeah.
Always has been. He's gonna go in and he's gonna figure out a way to attack you, and he's gonna attack your lifestyle. He's gonna attack something.
Yeah.
And he's gonna go after you like a rabid dog. And he did that with Romney, except for the fact that Romney's a true practicing Mormon and basically said, "Come get you some." And I don't have nothing to hide, and I think that Dr. Carson's going to be the same way. He's already basically said, "Yeah, bring it. I don't have nothing."
The only thing is then you got to worry about, you know, if they do a Herman Cain on him or a Justice Thomas and Inventa and Anita Hill or the other girl. But I don't think it plays well with this guy. I think this guy is too. You can look at him and he didn't cheat a day in his life. He never cheated at cards.
Yeah, but what they're going to do is they're going to find some disgruntled mother who's whose kid died because Carson didn't it was a misdiagnosis or whatever, or she was bent because her kid died.
I think he can beat it though. I do. We're gonna have. It's gonna be.
Well, I mean, that's going to come out.
The reason is
because that's the same bullshit that came out with Romney. How Romney Bain Capital closed. Wouldn't give this woman insurance, so her kid died, and it's like, wait a second, Romney wasn't even there when that happened.
But I don't think you can turn around and do it again now. So close. I think that we've done this so many times. Usually they spread it out. But this has been done like how many times in a row? Where they were the same way with the crisis, with the money. It's like we've been in about 16 crises since this guy took over.
Well, you remember what Rahm Emanuel said?
Yeah.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this next story is too lengthy for me to get completely into, but I would highly recommend that you go to the show notes links page at steelcityresistance.wordpress.com, because this is a chilling story that I've been seeing little bits and pieces of, but I never really saw it written about. It's called Clearing Away the Rubble with Blackhawks, Tanks, and Loads of Ammo. And I didn't realize that this was so widespread. But if things are so peachy, I have a question for the president. What's with the Black Hawk helicopters and urban warfare drills? The Army took over an empty high school in southeast Houston without any warning last month in a Department of Defense drill. I mean, the residents were terrified. They're shooting blanks out of the damn helicopters, and I mean the cartridges, the casings are landing on stuff. They had a city council meeting the next day, and the mayor decried a shocking lack of sensitivity to community concerns that caught even some in the police department by surprise. You know, and it's about the same time council members were meeting in Houston. Federal law enforcement agents were rappelling down ropes from military helicopters hovering above the Capitol in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Days earlier in Miami, one local news station reported that blanks fired from Black Hawks soaring low over downtown were pinging off the high-rises, and another reported troops rappelling from the military choppers onto the Metro Rail station platform. The official explanation: the training is designed to ensure the military personnel are able to operate in urban areas and to focus on preparations for overseas deployment, which is totally bullshit. A reader claiming to be a former Marine commented on the CBS Los Angeles News website that he was an infantryman for 20 years and never trained in any city or town with civilians present. And I've been on many bases, and almost every one of those bases has a range for this. You know, this isn't something you do in the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what they do for training firemen, right?
Exactly.
I mean, they'll go in, they'll build up a mock building, you know, with windows, and it's probably, you know, usually configurable, so you can have movable walls on the inside, so you can lay out different, you know, scenarios so you don't see the same thing every time, and have them egress that building. But you never have, you know, people flying into, you know, for example, into downtown Pittsburgh.
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the other thing too. Now think about this. You don't know that the guy shimmying down that rope's a cop or an Army guy.
The other thing
all
is,
you see is a black helicopter with a guy jumping out the door.
why are they together? Think of
Why
the
aren't they
Constitution.
shooting?
Think of the Constitution.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's
They are not supposed.
all the way.
They're not supposed to work together like that. They have two different functions, and that's what's alarming. And if you're in the range of this show, and we have listeners from all over the place, so contact your congressman, your senators, find out why, get an explanation. Somebody should be jumping up and down about this in Congress. I was thinking about this today. This Republican Party, I mean, this is something. Things are happening that never happened before, and I don't hear a whole lot of blowback. Now, I think they're they're still on vacation, right? They'd come back Monday or something?
I believe it's Monday, yeah.
Because they got like 4 days before the bottom falls out and everything's over. Anyway, that military and that bothers me, man. That just I don't like that at all. That's I don't like that.
No,
that ends.
I agree.
The country ends. I mean, that's the end of it. It's over if that happens. I mean, now in London, they're experiencing some difficulties because all of the white people are leaving. This place is becoming a Muslim enclave. I mean, from Muslim immigration to white flight to an Islamic Republic of London in just 20 years, we were 10 years into this frightening transformation, but in the last 10 years, more than 600,000 white Britons have fled their former towns in London for less violent, less hostile, less Muslim, Asian, as they call it in the UK. They don't even call it Muslim, they call it Asian. They're so damn afraid. Areas. So that's a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen, and I was going to post a story about Wichita. It was either Wichita or Kansas City. Go to Bare Naked Islam. It's on there. You can find it. It's one of those two, but this is happening in a much lower scale, lighter scale in Kansas. And that was the reason that I put that on there. Now, what I would suggest you do, whenever we post anything from Bare Naked Islam, there are several embedded links within the article, and we only paste the text when we're doing the show. But if you go to the link, all the videos will come up and everything. And there's an extensive amount of information about this in London, and it's really sad. It really is. I mean,
Well, Hutch, this goes back to what Dr. Carson said um, during the prayer breakfast, right? I mean, he came out and basically said, you know, this political correctness is going to destroy us.
it has to stop.
And that's what, and we've been saying that on the show
That's one of the
since the show came up.
Yeah, that's one of the tenets of
that's
the show. I mean, that's one of the things that we champion.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you call a pig, regardless what it is, you know, okay, you can live side by side with anybody. I don't care, you know, the guy next to me. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what color your skin is.
Mess with my dog, and we got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And you know, if I have a neighbor who's you know playing music all night, I'm going to go pound on his door, and we're going to have a problem. But and it's the same thing. These people, instead of speaking up and going, "Hey, look, you have a whole community of people who are trying to run us out of time. This is garbage. We're not going to stand for it."
Yeah, and there are some people like that, but some of them just took the easy route and bugged out. I mean,
well, that's what ends up happening is they don't want to be the rabble rouser. They think that it's bad,
and the government's not helping them.
Speak your mind. Exactly.
The
government, because the government wants you to be politically correct, and you can't say that because they're Muslims.
Hey, it's the same.
And that's the religion of peace.
It's the same here in this country. It's the same damn way.
Absolutely.
I had a conversation.
You can't say something to somebody because if you yell at somebody, and it's not because the guy's a jackass, it's because he's black, or it's because he's a Mexican, or because he's a, you know, and you're being insensitive because he's had a tough life. You know what? I've had a tough life.
Well,
and I don't see where it's a problem for me to go out and call somebody on being a dickhead.
I was in conversation with a certain local politician, who I like. But he was part and parcel of a bill, a meaningless bill really, because the whole rest of the state's on board, about banning Sharia law in Pennsylvania. And our fine city decided that we had to throw a unanimous thing out there to go against that because it wasn't fair. And I, asked him about it, and he's staying for, to give the guy credit. I'm not going to mention his name. To give the guy credit, he stood up for what he said. But I was like, dude, don't you know that they want to kill us? Man, this isn't a religion. Man, this is it's got religion in it. Man, I'm coughing my butt off. But it's not a religion. And his answer to me was, have you ever gone to a mosque? Let's go to a mosque.
How is that anywhere near, you know what? I haven't been into the ovens in Auschwitz either, but I don't think I'd want to go there either. So no, you're walking into a place where nobody in there fucking likes you. I don't give a shit what they say because it's okay to lie to you because you're an infidel. You are the enemy. Get that until you get that one tenet of their entire religion into your brain. You're gonna think, oh, they're good people, and most of them are good people. No, most of them aren't. Most of them freaking hate you because you're an infidel. Their religion teaches them that if you don't believe in Islam, you are an infidel and you deserve to die.
One of the most outstanding things that ever occurred was them hiding this for so long. I mean, I only found out about this a couple of years ago. I used to think they were cool too.
No, but it goes back to the same thing we're talking about there, Hutch. It's the same thing over and over and over again. It's, you can't be politically correct. You got to call a pig a pig. And until somebody stands up and starts doing that, other than us, I mean, more people have to stand up and say, hey, you know what? And you have to be willing to go out and call bullshit on something that's not right. And you have to be able to, or you have to be willing to do like Hutch did, is approach these local politicians or bigger politicians and say, why are you allowing these people to come and step on my rights? Why are you allowing, because if, for example, if Sharia law were to pass in this country, I don't give a shit what they say. You know, the mosque might be lovely and it might have all kinds of polished silver and whatever. And yeah, it's beautiful. The bottom line is it's a place where people meet that want to kill you.
You know, I sent them, the way I responded, I sent them a report. It was a poll of the 100 mosques that they visited. You know how many mosques had no violence-prone literature? 19%. 19%. That's what I asked the guy. I said, is our mosque in Pittsburgh, is it one of the 19%? And I sent him, he never replied. But yeah, I'm having none of it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that shit. And like you said, we have to have the conversation. It's a vital conversation. We have to get, this is not a left or right issue. Democrats, you got to come on board with this, or either you got to turn Muslim. It's up to you, one or the other. You know, if you don't want to be
they're going to make you.
Yeah, if you don't want to be a Muslim, you better join, we better get together on this. You know, I would highly suggest that you, any of your left-leaning friends, all you have to do, go out and do a Google that says Muslim Sweden, Muslim Denmark. That's all you need to do. Put those two words in, Muslim France, and you will see a plethora of just terrible, terrible stories. I mean,
Plethora is such a great word.
The rape in like Sweden, it was non-existent before they got there. You know, they commit 99% of it.
Yeah, well, there's also a story that we just posted on the Facebook page about this young kid who was beaten with a bat and a tire iron by a group of Muslims in Greenwich Village in mid-January. How come that hasn't been in the news?
It was, but they didn't say Muslim until 2 weeks later.
Oh, okay.
They just made it to like a group, you know.
Yeah, it was a gang beating.
They do that all the time. There was a lady that cut her 3 kids, slit their throats, and left them. And I couldn't find the Muslim connection to that, but I'll bet that comes out in the next couple of days in London. It was either London or Paris. Paris. So that'll be coming out in the next couple of days. She was Muslim. Thomas Sowell has an article in there about guns and pensions you can check out. Ward, you had one more about Media Matters?
Yeah, it just came out, but based on tax filings, that Media Matters is actually owned by, wait for it, dun dun dun, George Soros. We talked about this almost a year ago when we said that Media Matters worked for Soros and nobody could find a link and blah 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 blah. Well, the link came out, and George Soros's Open Society Institutes basically owns Media Matters. So when you get something that says, well, Media Matters says this, that they should just start saying, and the next thing that comes out of my mouth is going to be a total and complete fucking lie. Media Matters said.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you, if you look at I think it's on our website. If it's not, I'll put it there. But if you look at Follow the Network, was it Follow the Networks?
I believe so. The thing that
David Horowitz.
Yeah.
Soros is into so many different things. This guy, I can't believe somebody hadn't taken him out yet. But he's into a lot. He really is. He's into the Tides Foundation. He's into things that are good. I mean, I don't know that they're 100% good, but I know a gentleman that helps the old people, helps elderly people. He's pretty elderly too, but he helps them, and he's always asking for, you know, can anybody help? And I looked into it one time. I'm like, dude, man, it's Tides Foundation. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. You know, you might be getting a nickel, but somebody else is getting the other 95 cents.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. He mixes it. He did the same thing with the Iraq Association of IAVA, whatever, the Iraq Veterans Association for America or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I looked into that, and I think they washed it by now. But that was getting Soros money.
Yeah. He's not a nice person. No. You know, I mean, if you really want to get into it, he was one of the guys that ratted out Jews.
Yeah, and what was he, Hungary?
Yeah, in Hungary.
I think it was Hungary.
He was ratting them out to the Germans.
And he's a Jew.
Yeah. He's a piece of shit, is what he is.
He is a rich piece of shit too. There's countries where he's wanted. Singapore, I think he's dusted off some economies.
Yeah, because that's what he does.
I think he did it in England, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's trying to do it here.
It's a wonder they don't have it.
And nobody here will call him on it.
It's a wonder that they don't like British MI6 or whatever that doesn't just freaking drop in a chopper and snatch his fat ass.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think, but who knows? Anyway, join us. Check out our website, steelcityresistance.wordpress.com. Check out the SCR Beacon. It's the companion to the show.
Yet another companion.
Yeah, we got to have some companions.
We have all kinds of companions.
Facebook's cooking. Steel City or Facebook.com/SteelCityResistance. SCRTV at live.com for the email. And it just keeps going and going. Download subscribe to the show on iTunes. Check it out.
SteelCityResistance.wordpress.com.
All that
Twitter.
mess.
we have all kinds of stuff. We're like great big octopuses.
Magnates.
We're going to be octopi.
Somebody.
I don't know. we got a bunch of tentacles in a bunch of places, just doing a bunch of stuff, and that's what we do.
Start sending us some money. Well, anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for letting us into your life for an hour and listening to my terrible voice. And you probably saw a lot of coughing on the video. I was dying the last 10 minutes. We got through her, though. Ward, you got anything else for the nation?
No, sir. I'm over and out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next week.